Of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Colorado Rockies in the third game of a four-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Rockies, right-hander Bradley Blaylock, and for the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 5:40 p.m. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. I go one-on-one with tonight's Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman. We check in with Padres radio voice Jesse Agler in just a few minutes, and we have our keys to the game and much, much more to come. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 80-68. They enter the day 2.5 games behind the LA Dodgers for first place in the National League West. The Padres hold the NL's second wild card spot entering today. They entered the day 4 games up on the Mets, who already lost today. They hold the final wild card spot, at least at the moment. They're 4.5 games behind the Cubs entering the day for the first wild card spot. And we'll give you the updated standings during our pregame coverage later because some of this has changed, but I'm just giving you where things were at the start of today. Meanwhile, the Rockies come in 41-107, by far and away the worst record in baseball, already the most losses in Rocky franchise history. Padres and Rockies continued this series last night. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Manny Machado put the Padres ahead in the first.
3-2 hammered to deep left field. Oh boy, Manny got him again, and it's another really long one. Out to the golf ball in left field. Machado's 24th of the year, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning.
The score stayed 1-0. J.P. Sears was great early on for the Padres on the mound. 3 scoreless innings, 7 strikeouts, but then came the top of the 4th inning. Sears allowed 2 singles to start the frame. He got the first down on a sac bunt, then struck out Ezekiel Tovar, but there were 2 on and 2 out for a guy that had just come up from AAA earlier in the day. That was Blaine Krim.
Swings at the first pitch, hits it in the air to deep left field. Laureano's back to watch this one. Gonna go. First major league hit for Blaine Krim, and a 3-run homer to the second deck in left field to give the Rockies a lead. It's 3-1.
Rockies were not done. Kyle Farmer was next.
Now Kyle Farmer puts a charge into one. Deep to left center field. Merrill is back and gone. A home run. Back-to-back jacks for Krim and Farmer. And all of a sudden, it's the Rockies 4 and the Padres 1.
Sears pitched into the 5th inning. Padres bullpen did a great job keeping it a 3-run deficit. Padres had great scoring opportunities against the Rockies bullpen. 2 on in the 7th inning with nobody out, 2 on in the 8th inning with nobody out, but they did not score in either frame. Padres would end up scratching across a run in the 9th inning to make it 4-2. They brought the winning run to the plate in the bottom half of the 9th inning in the form of Ryan O'Hearn.
Vodnik ready to pitch, and a swing and a miss. The game is over. Another changeup and a strikeout to ice it as the Rockies even this series with a 4-2 win. They score at Petco Park for the first time this year, and they win at Petco Park for the first time this year.
A win for the Rockies to even up this series at a game apiece, and now the Padres try to turn the page to Game 3 of this 4-game set. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a variety of ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well, Sammy Lev there too. You can also chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube stream. Let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to today's game, let me know what it is, and I may just read it on the air coming up a little bit later. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, let's start with probably the headline as of late for the Padres, and that would be the lack of offense. Despite winning yesterday's game, Padres have only scored 11 runs during this 5-game homestand so far. Your general take on where the Padres are at offensively right now entering tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think it goes without saying. A little bit of a rut at the moment, and how long that lasts, I don't know. Tonight feels like a pretty good night to break out of it against a guy who started a game you won 21-0 earlier this season. But as we know, baseball is not generally that straightforward. I would say my biggest plus right now is that we saw Manny Machado, a couple of hits last night, including the long home run in the bottom of the first inning against Tanner Gordon, because I think generally speaking over the last 6 years, when Manny Machado has gotten going, everybody seems to fall in line pretty quickly. He's that outsized of a presence in the middle of the lineup. Even a lineup with the names that this one has and the talent that this one has, if Manny goes on one of his Manny streaks, you're probably going to see a lot of good stuff out of this offense. But certainly it has been a lull, as you said, a very quiet homestand. Baseball is treacherous that way. On the last road trip, it was the starting pitching that was struggling, but they were scoring some runs. Now the starting pitching is doing generally about all you can ask, but the offense has gone more quiet. And I guess if you want to look at it very optimistically, you might say that, all right, that's perfect, because that means in a couple of weeks as you head into October, everything should be clicking together at once.
Dylan Cease on the mound for the Padres here tonight. We'll talk plenty more about him a little bit later. Bradley Blaylock on the mound for the Rockies, as you said, a guy the Padres have hit in the past, and a guy who has had a rough season by the numbers. We'll get into that a little bit later. I want to take the conversation in a little bit of a different direction today, because I caught up with Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman earlier today inside their clubhouse, and he's in the midst of a really, really nice year. He's got 30 home runs, albeit he plays in Colorado, but he's a good young catcher, power-hitting catcher. We're seeing this year Cal Raleigh have the best power-hitting season for a catcher ever. He's been terrific. And Jesse, I just wanted to get your take on power hitting, and I suppose more in general, great hitting catchers, because it's something that felt like for a while in baseball we just weren't seeing a ton of anymore. And it's one of those positions where when a guy can really hit and hit for power, man, you also consider what they do from a game planning and catching standpoint. It is such a luxury to have when you have a guy like that.
Yeah, it feels like a freebie in your lineup. Like you're getting something, where you wouldn't expect to get it. I think if you look at baseball history, there really aren't that many, and we're doing this all off the top of our heads, right? But, I'm a little older than you, but we generally grew up in an era where you had Mike Piazza and Ivan Rodriguez, and maybe we were a little spoiled and took for granted a little bit the fact that those guys were doing what they were doing. You go back a little bit deeper into baseball history, and you think about Yogi Berra, Johnny Bench, Carlton Fisk, but those three guys stand out over the course of almost 50 years of baseball. And I don't know that there's anybody else that you necessarily throw in that conversation from those 5 decades. I'm probably missing maybe one or two, but that tells you the story of how rare it is to see guys like Piazza and Pudge Rodriguez, and now, as you said, Cal Raleigh and Hunter Goodman. It is an extreme luxury for a team. It is also, as you were kind of alluding to, an incredibly difficult thing to do from a physical standpoint. Those guys have so much more on their plates than anybody else on the diamond. And so for Hunter Goodman to get back down there for 9 innings every night, take all the foul tips off the body, in and out of the crouch 200 times in a game, and then, oh, by the way, I'm going to go out and hit 30 homers, that is incredibly impressive. And I'm glad you're shedding some light on it, because it's one of those things that, again, I think a lot of us of a certain age probably took for granted. Like, yeah, of course there's power-hitting catchers, but it is not normal for Hunter Goodman, and certainly not for Cal Raleigh. This is going to go down as historic for him to be able to do what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Felt like a good day to take our conversation in a little bit of a different direction, with our conversation with Hunter Goodman coming up a little bit later. And the Padres have done a good job against Hunter Goodman. No pun, I suppose, intended so far in this series. He's hit well against him in the past, but not so much in the first 2 games of this series. We'll see if they can do that again here tonight. Jesse, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up at 5:30. Thanks so much.
All I can tell you is he's good, man.
There we go. I like it. Jesse Agler joining us on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40. That was a good one by Mr. Agler from inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center. When we come back, we'll take our first look at the Padres lineup here today. We'll also hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt a little bit later. We hear the latest update on Xander Bogaerts. Like I said, I go one-on-one with Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman a little bit later as well. Our keys to the game, a full breakdown of today's starting pitching matchup between Bradley Blaylock and Dylan Cease. So a lot to do on this gorgeous late Saturday afternoon here in America's finest city as we get ready for Game 3 of this 4-game series between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies. Our pregame coverage continues after this.
Stay tuned to the Eco.
SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40 between the Padres and the Colorado Rockies. Taking a look at the Padres lineup here today, it looks like this for the Padres. Fernando Tatis Jr. leading off in right field. Luis Arraez batting second, playing second base. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Gavin Sheets, the DH, batting cleanup. Ramon Laureano in left field, batting fifth. Jackson Merrill in center, batting sixth. Ryan O'Hearn, the first baseman, batting seventh. Jake Cronenworth at shortstop, batting eighth, and Elias Diaz doing the catching and batting ninth. Right-hander Bradley Blaylock on the mound for Colorado. Right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound for San Diego today. I do want to take just a quick look at the up-to-the-minute standings because we already had a lot of movement earlier today with the Mets losing, Cubs losing. I did tell you earlier in our opening segment about where things stood entering today, but I did want to tell you where they are right now. So Cubs lost today, which means at the moment the Padres are 4 games out behind the Cubs for the first wild card spot. If the Padres win today, they would then be 3.5 out. Mets losing today, so the Padres at the moment 4.5 ahead of the Mets for the second wild card spot. For the final wild card spot. I want to get to that final spot in a second. So Padres 4.5 ahead of the Mets. If they win today, they'll be 5 ahead. If they lose, then they would go back to 4 ahead. But here's the interesting thing now about that last wild card spot. At the moment, the Mets trail the Giants by a game in the loss column. The Giants and Mets at the moment are tied for the final wild card spot. The Giants play the Dodgers later today in San Francisco. If the Giants win today, they would have sole possession of that final wild card spot, knocking the Mets out of the playoff picture, which is hard to believe. So that's where things stand right here, right now. Obviously, Giants need to play. Padres need to play. Reds still need to play tonight in Sacramento. The Dodgers need to play from a divisional standpoint. Padres 2.5 games behind LA entering today. We'll get to that a little bit later in our post-game coverage. Out-of-town scoreboard coming up in a little bit. But that is where things stand at the very, very current moment. And the good news for the Padres, the teams that have played today, the Cubs and the Mets, they both lost so far today. So Padres already getting a little help on the out-of-town scoreboard. But as we've said many a times on the pre- and post-game coverage, Padres need to worry about what they can do, what they can control, and that is certainly taking care of business here tonight against the Colorado Rockies. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40, let's hear from the Padres skipper.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
I feel like Cease, had success several years. The splits, home road, is it just coincidence? Is there something to it, or?
I don't know. It's interesting, that you have these things that take place in the course of a season. One year you do this, next year you do that. It's hard to explain it. In this case specific to Dylan, I don't have a real clear explanation. You may say there would be more merit to it if he hadn't had a longer career, where he's normalized success regardless of where he's pitched.
How's Iglesias? Has he been available the past couple nights?
Iglesias is good. He pinch ran the other day. He got some bats today. We brought in some guys, and he's available in the situation calls for.
So Nestor go out in the bullpen. What is your idea?
We're evaluating that. I don't want to be out of school with where we're at with the next phases because we haven't sat down with Nestor, so of course we won't do that. But he does feel good enough to touch the mound and get on the slope and throw some pitches. So how he responds will be whether he goes with us or whether he goes to Arizona and starts to face some hitters, gets built back up again. All those things are still in the mix.
I imagine there's a lot of fluidity to the rotation based on the fluidity to the season.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, for me, listen, we've done everything we can to this point to make sure we're keeping our guys healthy and fresh, but we are at a point in the season where our principal guys need to go pitch.
But there could be a few days at the end of the season where they don't.
There absolutely could be. And we'll cross that bridge when we proverbially get to it.
Look forward to it.
I look forward to it. Yes, sir. Yes.
I know you're not the type of person to go ahead and shake stuff for shaking it up. But any thought of ever moving things around just to get guys going, give them a new look?
Yeah, I've done it. Here's the lineup. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I have done it to give it a new look. I will answer lineup questions understandably to a point as long as I have this job. I get the questions. I understand the interest in it. We have 9 guys are in the lineup, and the more quality of bats we get through the 9 guys, and here's the thing about our lineup. It's very interchangeable. And it has. Ryan O'Hearn's hit 2nd, 4th, and 7th in the last 10 days. I don't know. I feel like that's changing it up. Gavin Sheets has hit 4th, 6th, and 7th in the last 10 days. I feel like that's changing it up. So I'm not sure what to say about the changing of the lineup other than we have a capable lineup that is going to go produce tonight.
Much of a luxury with Cronenworth just pushing him to the left side of the infield right now that you need help with shortstop. Just the luxury of having that you have a sure-handed.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jake's willingness and ability to go do it, clearly he's done it. As we answer questions about the lineup, it's based on having a deeper lineup. And that's what we have. And Jake's been able to go play short. Willie's played second. We'll continue to adjust the lineup accordingly relative to what presents itself with Bogey's absence.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. We'll hear more from Mike in a little bit, the latest update on Xander Bogaerts. Plus, we'll hear Mike's post-game reaction on our post-game coverage coming up later on this evening. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building and at Petco Park. Everybody having a good time here inside the loft, drinking their beers and their mixed drinks and enjoying all the great food they have to offer here at Petco Park. May I make a couple of suggestions to you tonight because I have a little bit of time, and I had a friend text me earlier tonight about food suggestions. So let me give you a couple of suggestions before we continue on the baseball side of things. If you're on the way to the game right now, two things I think you should try if you've never had them here at Petco Park. Item number one, the tri-tip nachos that you can get at Seaside Market and from some stands around the ballpark. The tri-tip nachos, one of the best items they have in the ballpark. The other thing I would try, the hot hen chicken sandwich. You can also get the tenders and the fries. Absolutely terrific. You can get that at the Mercado. They have a great stand there at the Mercado. So a couple items for you to try if you're on the way to the ballpark. You never had those. The tri-tip nachos and the hot hen chicken sandwich. They also have these tenders and fries they do there too. They also have the cool hen Luke, I think it's called. Don't quote me on that. I didn't write it down before the game, but that's a little less spicy, I think, for you. But the tenders, the fries, that's my go-to. That's my favorite. So if you're on the way to the ballpark right now, those are my food recommendations for you as we get ready for today's game. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
A few headlines from around the major leagues. Brewers have become the first major league team to clinch a playoff spot this season. When the Mets lost to the Rangers earlier today in New York, it sealed a postseason spot, at least an NL wildcard berth, for the Brewers as they get ready to play against the St. Louis Cardinals. And, of course, the Brewers have the best record in the majors, and they lead the National League Central. Detroit Tigers ace Tarik Skubal had an exam today that showed no structural damage after he felt some tightness in his left side yesterday, came out of the game. A.J. Hinch, Tigers manager, saying it was all good news. The scan came back clean, so obviously that's great for the Tigers and great for him. That's what A.J. Hinch said. Hinch saying Skubal will return to Detroit after the test, and the left-hander is expected to have his next normal throw day as far as getting ready for his next start. So sounds like no big deal for Tarik Skubal. That's good news for the Tigers. The Cubs today honored Anthony Rizzo at Wrigley Field. Rizzo, of course, a huge part of the team that won the World Series in 2016, 108 years in the making. He was honored at Wrigley Field today as he officially retired from the game at 36 years old. He even sat in the left field bleachers at Wrigley, and he almost caught a home run ball off the bat of rookie Moises Ballesteros. In the bottom of the second inning, it hit him right in the hands. He was sitting in the outfield. He didn't catch it. It was pretty cool, though. And Rizzo honored today at Wrigley Field. One other note from a game today, Salvador Perez stepped closer to 2 career milestones with his first home run of today's game in Philadelphia. Salvador Perez of the Royals reaching the 300 career home run mark and the 1,000 career RBI mark with a solo home run in that game in Philadelphia. And again, we'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Let's quickly pause for station identification on the Padres Radio Network.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Hi, this is Michael King. The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 station, 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station.
By the way, another note on that home run by Salvador Perez. He became the 8th primary catcher, which is defined as a player who caught 75% of their games. The 8th primary catcher in Major League history to reach the 300 home run mark, joining Mike Piazza, Johnny Bench, Carlton Fisk, Yogi Berra, Gary Carter, and Ivan Pudge Rodriguez, and also Lance Parrish. So quite a rare thing to see with a catcher hitting 300 home runs, and Salvador Perez did that here today in Philadelphia. And again, we'll look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. When we come back, we hear the latest on Xander Bogaerts, our keys to today's game. I go one-on-one with Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman. Much more to do on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. You're listening to the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, my friends. It's Woodsy. Did you know your water
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. A lot to do on our pregame coverage. We'll talk more about tonight's starting pitching matchup between Dylan Cease and Bradley Blaylock coming up in just a little bit. Our keys to today's game, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and much, much more. But first, let's give you the latest on Xander Bogaerts.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Well, Xander Bogaerts continues to progress after being put on the IL a handful of weeks ago with that non-displaced fracture in his left foot. We saw Xander out on the field yesterday, taking ground balls. We also knew he took some swings. Here was Mike Shildt earlier today. The latest on Xander Bogaerts as he works his way back.
Xander had another good day. Just saw him all smiles, which we always love. Good spirits. Extended a little bit more on the ground ball. Got some tracking in with some live arms that we brought in today. Got some swings in the cage, and now he's in a spot where he can maybe travel and go over to Arizona and get some work over there.
2-3 days, kind of get a lot of
yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's again, there's no firm timeline, Kevin. We're working on it. He'll let us know, but he's still in the process where he's not full bore 100% spread. So that'll be its continued about how long that takes as will dictate the time frame. But he is getting it back, so that's encouraging, clearly.
So that was Mike Shildt on Xander Bogaerts. Again, we'll continue to keep you updated on what the progress is with Xander in the coming days, but that was the latest as far as what is coming next in the rehab process for the X-Man, the Padres shortstop. Padres did make a move earlier today, just so you know. They do have a new arm available in the bullpen. That was when J.P. Sears, after making his start yesterday against the Rockies, he was optioned down to AAA El Paso. Padres recalling young flame-throwing right-hander Bradley Rodriguez from AAA El Paso. We saw Rodriguez up in the major leagues earlier this year, and now Rodriguez back with the Padres, so he will be a fresh arm out of the bullpen for the Padres here tonight. Well, Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman in the midst of a really, really good season. 30 home runs, 279 batting average. He was the Rocky representative at the All-Star game in Atlanta earlier in the summer. First All-Star appearance for Hunter Goodman. I caught up with the Rockies catcher earlier today inside the Colorado clubhouse. Sam Levitt here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game against the Colorado Rockies. And right now I'm joined by Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman. Well, Hunter, congratulations on what's been a really nice season for you, an all-star season for you. How would you describe what 2025 has been on a personal level for you?
It's been a blessing. I mean, being able to stay healthy and being able to get behind the dish every day and get to play with these guys every day. It's been awesome.
As far as going to the All-Star game, your first, what was that experience like?
It was great. I mean, I got to meet a lot of guys that I've watched growing up, and that, being around those guys is really cool.
Anybody in particular you connected with during that experience?
I mean, I connected with some of the younger guys. I mean, a lot of our first times. Like I talked to PCA a good bit, talked to Stowers a lot. I think we kind of gravitated towards each other just because first time we were just kind of taking it all in.
Hunter, from a power standpoint, entered the day with 30 home runs. You've had a great season power-wise. What do you feel like has contributed to your power this year?
I think just consistency. I mean, being in the lineup every day has been awesome for me, getting that timing and that rhythm down, and just not putting as much pressure on myself as I was before. Just getting all those opportunities to go out there and play and not trying to do too much.
You mentioned not putting as much pressure as you were before. What exactly has that process been like, I guess, from a mental standpoint?
It's been good. I mean, knowing that most days I'm going to be in the lineup, not having to worry about, if I don't get a hit today, then I probably won't play tomorrow. I mean, there's a lot of that goes into it when you're not playing every day. So not having that pressure and knowing that, hey, tomorrow's a new day, I'll be back in the lineup tomorrow, I'll get another chance to play. It's been really nice.
It's no secret around the major leagues for catchers at this level. I mean, there are major responsibilities outside hitting the baseball from a game planning standpoint, from a catching standpoint. How have you learned to balance the offensive side and the catching side at the same time?
It's been interesting. I mean, I think it's been easier for me when I catch because there's so much more importance on going out there and trying to shut down the lineup you're playing that night, and gives me the ability to get over my bats a little quicker than, say, DH. DH, sometimes it's hard to flush that bat and get ready for the next one. So just going out there and knowing, hey, my job out there on the field is more important than it is in the box tonight.
When you look at somebody like Cal Raleigh, another catcher who catches most days and is just having an unbelievable season power-wise, the best power-hitting season we've ever seen for a catcher, what's that like for you to watch a guy perform like that?
I mean, it's awesome to see. I mean, what he's doing is super special. I mean, the records he's already broken, and it's been really cool to watch. And it shows that catchers can do it too.
Yeah. We're joined by Rockies catcher Hunter Goodman here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Obviously, I know record-wise, it's not where you want it to be for this team here in 2025. How have you been able, I suppose, to continue what you've done on a personal level, despite maybe the wins and losses not going your guys' way for the most part?
We get paid to play the game of baseball.
Yeah.
We're showing up just like these other teams. We're trying to get better every day. We're trying to win the game that we're about to play tonight. It's a learning process. We have one of the youngest teams in baseball, and I think through the losses we learn a lot. We learn a lot about ourselves, and I think we're over the course of the year we've seen improvements in different things, and I think going forward we're just going to keep improving.
I was talking with Mickey Moniak the other day about the youth on this team. It sounds like, despite the record, this is a close group and a group that's having fun together.
Yeah, 100%. A season like this, you have to try and find the fun in it and enjoy being around the guys. And we have a great clubhouse in here, and so that makes it a lot easier. And so, going forward, just try and win some more ball games.
Finally, obviously, Warren Schaefer took over earlier in the year. What's it been like playing for him?
He's awesome. He brings energy every day. He's out there. He wants us to compete. And, it's been a jolt to life. Having him, he brings energy every day, and his attitude's good every day. It's been great. Love having him.
Hunter, very much appreciate the time. Again, congratulations on what's been a really, really good season for you, and we'll catch up with you again down the road.
Yeah, thank you.
That was Hunter Goodman, Rockies catcher. Always good catching up with some guys in the other clubhouse when they're here at Petco Park. And you may have noticed here on the pregame coverage, we've done that a little bit more here in the second half of the season, brought you some conversations from the other side of things on the opposition side of things. Hey, always good to catch up with some of the brightest stars in Major League Baseball, and certainly Hunter Goodman has had a really, really good season. 30 home runs, 279 batting average, but for the Padres' purposes, you don't want Goodman to be very good here tonight. Let's talk a little bit more about that as we bring you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, be good against Goodman. All right, I promise we're going to stop talking about Hunter Goodman here in a second, but that is key number one tonight. The Rockies catcher is hitting .361 with 4 home runs and 11 RBIs in his last 9 games, but Padres have limited him so far in this series. He's just 1 for 8 in the 2 games so far in this series with a single. That's key number one. Continue to do a good job against Hunter Goodman, who's batting third tonight for the Rockies. Key number 2, get this offense clicking. The Padres offense has scored only 11 runs during this 5-game homestand. They're hitting just 168 on this homestand, including a 3 for 34 with runners in scoring position. Fernando Tatis Jr. does have 3 home runs in the last 11 games, but he's hitting just 178 in that span. Manny Machado had 2 hits, including a home run yesterday, but he's still batting just 130 in his last 12 games. And against this guy on the mound for the Rockies today, Bradley Blaylock, there's not going to be much of an excuse to not score. I promise we'll get to that more a little bit later, get into it even more. Key number 3 here today. One of the silver linings from yesterday's loss was the fact that the Padres didn't have to use any of their quote-unquote high-leverage relievers. No Robert Suarez, no Mason Miller, no Adrian Morejon, no Jeremiah Estrada. So all those guys you'd imagine would be pretty fresh today. Now, even though they didn't pitch yesterday, they did pitch 3 out of the 4 days prior, so I don't know that you want everybody pitching today. However, nobody pitched yesterday, which means should the Padres have a lead even in a close game, they should have options as far as the high-leverage guys out of their bullpen. Hopefully the Padres can take advantage of that here tonight. And that's a look at our keys to tonight's game. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on today around the major leagues.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Well, let's start in New York, where the Mets had a late lead, but they blew yet another game as the Rangers beat the Mets 3-2 in New York. The New York Mets have lost 8 in a row. They are scuffling beyond belief, and they are currently sitting tied for the final wild card spot in the National League with the San Francisco Giants, who host the Dodgers later tonight at 6:05 p.m. Clayton Kershaw against Logan Webb in that game. If the Giants win that game against LA, the Giants will have sole possession of that final wild card spot, which I think about a month ago seemed unimaginable, but the Giants have played extremely well. The Mets, quite simply, have not. Other finals around baseball today. Yankees beat the Red Sox 5-3. Marlins beat the Tigers on a walk-off home run in the 11th inning 6-4. Pirates beat the Nationals 5-1 in D.C. Blue Jays beat the Orioles 5-4 in Toronto. The Rays beat the Cubs at Wrigley 5-4. Games going on right now. Phillies ahead of the Royals 8-5 in Philadelphia in the 7th inning. Guardians 3, White Sox 1 in Cleveland in the 9th. Diamondbacks and the Twins in Minnesota. D-backs leading 2-0 in the 4th inning. Astros lead the Braves 6-0 in Atlanta in the 4th inning. Cardinals ahead of the Brewers 1-0 in the 1st inning in Milwaukee. We told you about that Dodgers-Giants game coming up later at 6:05. Couple of other games yet to begin aside from this one. Angels and the Mariners in Seattle at 6:40. And finally, Reds and the A's in Sacramento at 7:05. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Saturday. When we come back, we dive deeper into today's starting pitching matchup, tell you what to watch for in today's game. Much more to do as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 5:40 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then to the stadium. Go to my booth, spend the morning cutting video from the night before, catching up on email, and researching for tonight's game. Then I go home, shower, get my work clothes, and on this day I made a stop for lunch. Barbecue. Then I drive back to the stadium, get our equipment ready like setting up all the mics. I watch batting practice, talk to the players, coaches, write my lineups in, keep researching, and prep for my pregame interviews. Change from this to this. I head down to the field, host my pregame show on TV, then back upstairs where I broadcast every pitch on TV and radio.
And the Soft Poodles win.
When you watch baseball on TV or listen to it on the radio, have you ever wondered how you hear this sound so clearly? At my stadium, that sound comes from this mic behind home plate. It's wired all the way up to my broadcast booth, where I plug it in and that's how you hear it. During my broadcast last night, everyone wanted me to say avocado. Could I do it? Beautiful night here in San Antonio. So nice it almost feels like that feeling when you break open an avocado, you spread it on a good piece of toast, you take a bite in the morning, and with that, the 2021 season, and with that, the 2022 season, and with that, the 2023 season, and with that, the 2024 season comes to an end. Good night. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. Why do I peek down when a fly ball goes in the air? Let me show you. In my scorebook, I write down the defense and where every player is. That way, I can do this. 2-2 on the way. Swinging a drive into left. Going back, Matajevic drifting by the fence. He's looking up and say goodbye.
People keep asking how I go to the bathroom during games. Here's the answer. I run. The bathroom is far away. Really far. I only have 90 seconds.
The bottom half of the 6th
I'm
inning.
always out of breath.
Frisco 3, Amarillo 2.
How other broadcasters handle a foul ball.
Yeah! Hacks!
How I handle
3-2.
one.
Hit foul, straight back this way. Oh my goodness.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. Let's tell you what to watch for in Game 3 of this 4-game set.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game? I'm going to focus on one guy here, and that is Ryan O'Hearn. O'Hearn, who is playing first base and batting 7th here tonight for the Padres. You look at O'Hearn's numbers in the month of August so far. In the month of August, he's had a handful of hits, but you count in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. One of those games he only had one at bat. He only has a trio of hits. The power has not really been there for O'Hearn as of late. Doesn't have a home run since August 20th. So it would be nice to see Ryan O'Hearn get a little bit more in on the action here tonight, especially from a power standpoint. O'Hearn, who has 16 home runs on the season, but certainly has been somewhat quieter offensively as of late for Ryan O'Hearn. So that's what to watch for in tonight's game. Can Ryan O'Hearn, who struck out to end last night's game representing the winning run, can he get a little bit more into the offensive swing of things here tonight? That's what to watch for out of the Padres lineup in this game. A quick look at today's starting pitching matchup. Right-hander Bradley Blaylock on the mound for Colorado. The 24-year-old has made 11 outings so far this year. 8.62 ERA, 47 innings. That ERA is the highest in the majors among pitchers with at least 40 innings of work. Blaylock has also struggled at AAA, an 8.60 ERA in 15 starts. So that is a combined total of 105 runs allowed in 107 2/3 innings this season across the majors and the minors. As far as the Padres, right-hander Dylan Cease on the mound. Cease is 7-11, a 4.71 ERA in 29 starts. Last start was against the Rockies in Denver. 1 run given up in 5 innings. While Cease has been pretty inconsistent this season, is near 34% whiff percentage, is still best in the majors among pitchers with at least 100 innings of work. He's also 5 strikeouts away from picking up his 200th strikeout of the season. Only other active players to accomplish that are Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Chris Sale, and Clayton Kershaw. So that's what Cease can accomplish here today. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlon have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.